welcome to my podcast. My name is Ferenc Ötvös, and my guest, it is Santiago.
Thanks for the invite, man.
Thank you for coming, bro. So let's talk about your crazy story.
My crazy story. The one about the jungle.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So I was adopted when I was a baby. I was 3 months old.
Very exactly, because this is also important.
From Bogota, Colombia.
Colombia, yeah.
And
where was that crazy story with Escobar?
With Escobar. Well, in that time, it was 1986. Colombia was too dangerous to travel to. So my parents didn't actually come to Colombia to pick me up. But I was sent with a lady from the agency to Holland by plane. So, and also because Colombia at the time was very dangerous, had a lot of problems. And South America was really popular for adoption. My Dutch parents were not able to have kids on their own, so they decided to adopt. And,
I understand.
Then I came by plane. Yeah. My mother is from the jungle, from the Amazon.
From Amazon.
And I had first contact with her when I was about 12 years old by letter, because we had no internet, you know. Yeah. So we started sending letters. We started looking for her, and then we had a guy, a lawyer, searching for her in Colombia. But because my back name is indigenous,
well, I think it was quite difficult to you find your parents in that conditions, that it's no internet, absolutely nothing, and you find your true parents.
But actually, it wasn't, because my last name is indigenous. It's not a Spanish name. Like in Colombia, most last names, they come from the Spanish colonization. So they all have similar names like Herrera or Garcia, but my name is Siriatove. And Siriatove is only from a small part of the jungle, only from that part, from a certain tribe, Witoto, which is where I'm from. So they searched for that name, and then they found her, and they found my uncles first. My uncles didn't know she had a son, because she fled from the jungle before. And they was like, what? Our sister has a son? Who is he? Where is he? Why is he in Holland? And then they started looking for her as well, because he wasn't in Bogota. He was living in Venezuela at the time. And then I had first contact with her through letter, later by phone. And I met her when I was 20 years old for the first time in Colombia.
The first time. Yeah, but let's start about what was your calling, or how it's happened that you turned back in the jungle.
Yeah. So when I was 27, I had my first ayahuasca session. And for those that are not initiating or are not initiated into plant medicines, ayahuasca is a tea, psychedelic tea.
Yeah.
That is used by many indigenous tribes in the Amazon basin.
Oh, I planned this. Sorry that I interrupt you. I planned this from 3 years. I always say, I will go this year to Peru to try ayahuasca this year, because here there are some kind of shamans that they told us that they are shamans, but it's not true.
Exactly.
You know, and what's happening there? It's something unique. You know, when they. I let you to tell you.
Yeah, but you're totally right, because there's a lot of people these days that claim to be a shaman, but they're not.
But actually, the shaman, he drives your spirit through that trip that you have in that time, that you can face up what you meet during that trip. You know, you meet your kind of your fears during your life, what you accumulate. And in different way.
Have you done ayahuasca before?
No, but I read a book about it.
Yeah, but that's pretty accurate what you're saying.
I read it.
That's exactly how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So ayahuasca forces you, or yaje as they call it in Colombia, it forces you to deal with stuff that you don't want to deal with subconsciously.
Your fears, yeah.
Your fears.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna like it. So people that use ayahuasca, they always have a strong intention, a strong reason to take it, because it's not fun. It's not a party drug. It's not something that you do for fun.
It's actually the most powerful.
Yeah, it is.
In the earth, they call it like this.
Yeah, it's in South America they call it the master medicine for a reason.
Yeah,
and
it's not a drug. It's a medicine.
It's actually a medicine.
Yeah.
Well, it depends well, here they call it drug, but it's not a drug.
That is not a drug.
It's like coffee is drugs. You know,
and it's made from the plants.
Yes,
from the jungle. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
From the leaves and from the tree, and
it's a natural thing. And science is only starting to scratch the surface of what this special tea can do. But the science now also are figuring out that it's actually good for depression. That
anxiety,
for anxiety.
It heals you.
In the United States, it's already in the mushrooms. It's also another psychedelic drug. It's already in phase. No, it's actually now in clinical trials to be used as a proper medicine, and it's going to be on the market as a medicine within the next 5 years.
Yeah.
For people that have PTSD, you know, people that are heavily traumatized, like soldiers from the United States, are taking this with great success and finally dealing with their traumas. But coming back to why I took
let's turn back.
Yeah. So my first question was, at that time I was in a low point of my life when I first took it. I lost my professional fighting debut, but the reason why I lost is actually what made me take the drug, because I was looking for a way to feel better. I wasn't mentally in a good place. I lost my professional debut, and in the next 3 days, I lost my relationship, I lost my job, I lost everything.
So you start questioning the life.
Exactly. I started questioning life, and I started thinking, what do I need to do to get out of this shit, you know? And then you start calling doctors, start therapy and stuff. But
the first step, what they take each and every person.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, the first steps. But it didn't work for me. And I think different therapies work for different people. And ayahuasca is a kind of therapy. So
it's an answer.
It's an answer, definitely. It's not for everybody, but some people go very well by this. So I researched for 1 year, I think, because my first question was, does the tribe where I come from, the Witoto, use ayahuasca? And I started searching, you know, Googling, and it turns out they did. So I was like, okay, so I want to take it, of course. If I would take it somewhere, I would want to take it there. But I didn't. I did it with a Peruvian shaman that came to Holland, and he had a very good reputation, like one of the highest reputations in Europe. I heard about him before, and it was the first time that he was coming to Holland. So I was okay, I'll do it there. And I'll tell you how my first 2 ceremonies went, because they were life-changing for me, for the better. So one common thing with ayahuasca is that you start puking as a way of, you start purging as a part of the healing process. In the first ceremony, I didn't puke because, well, I don't know actually, but like ayahuasca is a spirit. They say it's a spirit.
They say it, yeah, it's a spirit molecule, of course.
Yes, and it's true.
It connects you with your true self and
something
God.
else, yeah. And that's a spirit. They call it Mother Ayahuasca. You see paintings of it that shows you 2 eyes, and everything around it is green, and usually surrounded by flowers or at least something organic, plant stuff. And I saw her, like in that ceremony, and she was talking to me, and I was first like I was going crazy. I was thinking, am I talking to myself now, or I was thinking I was going crazy.
For first experience,
it was so weird. And then as I got further and further into the ceremony, it was talking to me, and I say it because I don't know what it is. It's just, you know, then you start talking about stuff we don't know about, you know, the spirits, God. Nobody knows what the truth is, but I saw her, you know, and she was telling me, I'm happy that you're here. You're finally here to deal with your past, what happened in the past, and also you're not going to have a tough time tonight. Okay, so the rest for that ceremony was actually very beautiful for me. My adoption mother died when I was 9 years old, and I got to see her again. I got to feel her again. She hugged me again, and it's weird to meet somebody that is deceased and have them
and feel it like it's
and
real.
feel it like it's absolutely real. So that also for me told me she's not dead, she's alive within me, you know. So she's always with me. And also I connected with the universe in a way that I cannot explain in words, you know. When time stops existing.
And you get one with the material world.
Exactly.
Not material like they call it, coarse money and things like this. Like material, like the molecule of the life.
Yes,
you know?
Yes. I was one with everything.
One with everything. Exactly.
One with everything.
You disappear, your ego disappear.
Yes.
And
yes, exactly that. And at the end of the ceremony, I started feeling a bit unwell, but still no purging. Okay, so then came the second ceremony. So we drink again.
But I interrupt a little bit. You do a regime before. You do the ceremony, like before 2 weeks. Like you don't eat sugar.
Yeah.
You go a bit vegan, you know?
Yeah, I went completely vegan.
This is also quite important.
The diet is super important for different reasons.
To prepare yourself.
To prepare yourself. And if you don't, you're gonna have a tough time.
You're gonna have a tough time, yeah.
Yeah. So that's super important. I'll get into the diets later. So the second ceremony, we drink again, and I start feeling a bit unwell. And you have to imagine your eyes are closed, so you are living this outside of yourself, you know, inside of yourself. You're not all your physical senses. They turn off. So right now, this is the magic, because right now we experience the world through our eyes, our hearing, our kinetic senses,
and through our habits,
through our thoughts, you know. But when you take ayahuasca, you start experiencing the world from inside out, spiritually, and then you close your eyes, and then you start going onto a journey. They call it, you know. They also say you go onto a new journey. This is very true, because you experience it like a journey. So I close my eyes are closed, and I start walking through thick canopy to forest. You know, that's what I see. I see leaves, and everything is becoming thicker and thicker as the ceremony goes on. And the shaman is singing his Quran, his Icarus is part of it's part of his of his magic. And as I get further and further into this jungle that I'm trying to walk through, I start seeing little black heads with white eyes looking at me. What is this guy doing here? Who is he? What is he doing here? And I start walking more and more, and there are more heads popping up. Like you have to imagine, like you watch around yourself and you see small heads, black heads with little white eyes. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. It wasn't like the night before. And then there was, you see and you feel something big walking, like a big animal with a big black head and two big white eyes. And I feel him, I see him, I hear him walking around me, stalking me. And it starts feeling threatening, you know, like he wants to attack me. And then in this moment I remember so clearly, and this still scares the shit out of me. I hear a voice, I hear him telling me, but not in a language. I hear him projecting his a message to me. And what he's saying is, I'm going to eat your soul. You are never going to leave this place. You're going to die. And so I freaked out. I was okay, I'm done, I'm out. I left the circle, I went to the toilet. Had to shit myself on the way to the toilet. And but I sit on the toilet, and all these little black heads are still looking at me. I still feel him, because that stuff is inside of you, so you cannot run. So I'm like, shit, what am I going to do now? Okay, go back to the circle. You have to face up. Yeah, you have to face up and go back to the circle. Maybe there it's safe. So I go back to the circle, and I sit down again, and I close my eyes again, and the thing is still there, projecting this message to me and sending all this black energy into me, like this is out of a fucking movie. All this black rays into me, and I feel myself dying, you know. And I look at my heart, and I see the little white light inside, like bright white light. And I'm thinking, okay, if this goes out, I'm gone, I'm dead. So what am I going to do? okay, I need to fight this thing somehow. I don't know how, but I must. I cannot. I'm not going to die here without a fight. And in that instant, I look at the left side of me and I see a wolf. It's standing here, like here, a gray wolf, and the wolf is looking back at me like this, and I look into his eyes, and I see. At the moment I look into his eyes, I feel myself transforming into a wolf, and I have paws, and I have fur, and I have teeth, and all that stuff. I now know that wolf is my spirit animal, but at the time I didn't know. And I don't know how to fight this thing, but this thing is still trying to murder me somehow, trying to eat my soul somehow. I was like, okay, what am I going to do? I'm just going to tell him, I'm powerful, I'm a wolf, look at my fur, look at my teeth, look at my paw. I'm just going to fight him. And I don't know how, but I started fighting this thing that's trying to eat me. And in the background, I see and hear the spirit of ayahuasca telling me, this is why you're here. You know, this is the stuff you need to deal with. I cannot help you in this moment, but I'm rooting for you, you know. Hang on, keep going. So I'm fighting this thing, and I started looking into my past as well, and I see all my martial arts teachers from when I was a kid. I started when I was 9 years old. And I see my first teacher like showing me moves, but it's not about the moves, but he's trying to help me. And I see his help, you know. I see him helping me. And then a couple of years later, until my next teacher, all these people try to help me, like get better and become the man that I am today. And in the meanwhile, this thing is still trying to murder me and sending me energy, and I still keep saying the same. Look at my power, and I'm projecting my own strength onto that thing. And after a while, it changed shape. It changed into a snake, it changed to a bear, and also changed locations, not anymore in the jungle, but also in mountains, on the beach, everywhere. But after a while, I started feeling this thing is not so powerful anymore.
You beat him.
I'm winning. I'm beating him. Until it came to a point where it's just like a small puddle of misery, and I was actually feeling sorry for it, you know. And in the meantime, I puked, and I puked, and I puked, and I puked, and every time I puked, it's not only just puke that's coming out, it's also bad energy that's coming out, and it's screaming from the bucket that I puked into. It's screaming to me, and crying and moaning. It's pure misery, and also trying to claw back into my mouth somehow. It's so weird. And then, as this thing is a small puddle of sadness, like this, it changed, and I'm in a Roman arena. I'm in a Colosseum actually, and I see an army in front of me with I don't know how many soldiers, thousands of soldiers, all with gold helmets, red bristles on their helmets, and with golden spears and golden shields. And I'm like, how am I going to fight this army? I don't know how to do this. And I'm alone. And then I look left at me and I see all my family friends. And I look at the right of me, you see more family friends all standing beside me to fight this army. Then I look forward and poof, army is gone. My eyes open and it's the end of the ceremony.
And the message was?
And the message was, there wasn't, one message was, I need to go back to Colombia. That was a message. Second message was, I put some stuff out of my past behind me, like stuff that was from childhood. I let it go in that moment, and it never came back to me.
Never came back.
Never came back.
Actually, it heals you.
Definitely, definitely.
You carry after you so many negativity.
Yeah.
And it heals you. And then and from here you get I must turn back from where I come.
Yes, definitely.
And then how you get back in the jungle? It was easy or?
No, it wasn't easy.
When was this actually?
This was in 2015.
2015.
Yeah. So after 2013, I realized I need to go back into the jungle. I also saw a part of my past in ceremonies that I did after those two. And because my roots are in the jungle, I also saw some, how do you say it? Some forefathers, some from my past, and they were telling me it's time to go back to Colombia now. It's time to come back to your roots. So then I became self-employed, because if you have a normal job, you cannot save up enough money to pay for these expensive trips. So I became self-employed, started working offshore, like seasonally, save up money during the summer, work for a couple of months really, really hard, so I could go back during the winter months when the work wasn't so busy. And I got in contact with my mother again, and then we started traveling to the jungle to my family. And because I wanted to understand what it meant to be indigenous, but it was about self-acceptance that I realized later, accepting who you are, where you come from, and from that on trying to figure out what you're going to do with the rest of your life. So I went back to the jungle. And
where actually?
This is La Chorrera, and it's a small village in the center of the state of Amazon in Colombia. It's in the middle of nowhere.
That's amazing.
It's far away from tourism. And I visited my family there.
How was the first reaction?
Wow, it was crazy. I have videos of this actually. First of all, you cannot get there normally by tourism, because normally when you go the tourist route, you go into a normal plane or you take a normal boat.
I like this kind of trips.
Exactly, but I had to go with a DC-3, which is a plane from the Second World War. It's completely analog, and also they opened the side door during the trip there as a part of the trip, because then you're flying low over the jungle and you open the door, you can see treetops and everything. It's amazing. And people put everything into the plane, chickens, children, and it's not isolated plane. You have the steel frames on the side of the plane. It's amazing. So when I came there,
it's a different adventure.
It's a different adventure. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I wanted to see how these people live. I wanted to understand what it's like to be indigenous, because it's part of me. And there were some beautiful things that I saw during the trip, but there was also a very sad part, because indigenous historically have always been, being colonized by colonizers, and it happened there too. The Witoto were, when first contact was in 1903, they were with 50,000 people. After they had first contact, in the next couple of decades, they were decimated to only 3,000 people. They were murdered. They were enslaved in brutal ways.
But they are advanced in technology, or they are the same?
No, they're advanced in technology. But all tribes that are in contact with the outside world right now, they are advanced.
They are advanced because the tourists get contact with them. Maybe also.
Yeah. But also they need to organize politically, because if they don't, they are vulnerable to illegal groups that come there, like loggers, people that mine for gold, people that come searching for oil. So they had to organize politically to protect themselves. So that's not a good thing. Or that's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. But along that way, many indigenous tribes are losing their culture, because the kids, they have now satellite TV and they see all the bullshit on TV.
So the culture, it's a bit lost.
Yeah, but it's not completely lost, but people that come from there, they see the way we live in the West and they want that. And it's crazy because the West wants what they have there, so it's very double. But they still preserve their ways of life. And a lot of them choose to still live by their own customs and language and rituals. So it's not all lost.
It's a different language there, no?
Yeah, it's not Spanish. It's Witoto. Yeah, a different language group.
That's nice.
Yeah. So yeah.
So and how long you stay there? What you do there at that period?
In that period, I try to understand most of all, because it's not like we can talk and have a conversation. I can ask you, what does this microphone?
Okay, but you didn't talk the language that they talk.
No, I spoke Spanish.
And they understand Spanish.
Yeah, they speak both languages. Yeah. But that's one of the things that I learned there, is that when you ask a question directly about, for example, a spiritual matter, you never get a direct answer back. there's always a myth or a legend involved. Because they believe that what happens in this reality also happens in the spiritual reality. So you always have to be very careful what you say and talk with respect and talk slowly, especially at night, because you might call for something that you don't want, or you might manifest something that you don't want. So what you say is very important. Words have power to them, and words have, we know this, but for them, so words have a lot of power to them. Not only in
they live in a spiritual world.
They live in both worlds.
In both worlds.
So they live in a dual world. So, for example, there are a couple of festivities. Like they have 4 seasonal festivities. And in those festivities, for example, you have one festivity that is for the hunt. And during that ceremony, which is about a day and a night long, they dance and they sing to bless the hunt. But during those dances, they sing songs.
So the tradition exists.
Yeah, it definitely exists. Yeah, it exists. But they also have smartphones. But it still exists. And in those dances, they call for animals, but they don't name them by their real name. They name them by fruits. Because in their world, if you call out a name by its real name, by an animal by its real name, he can hear it, and you're not going to be able to hunt it, because he heard you calling for it, so he's going to run. So they call them by fruit names, and like that there are many double-tongued words or ways of saying things to prevent the spirit world from intervening. Because in their imagination, well, not in their imagination, in their reality, everything has a soul. All the plants, the stones, the river, everything has a soul. And from legends and myths, they tell that at one time all those objects were alive like we were. They were able to talk, they were able to speak, they were able to walk. But because those souls were jealous of us, of our intelligence, and they started using black magic against humans.
Yeah.
And then their god, which is called Mobuinaima, punished them for it. He took away their ability to walk, to talk, and that's why plants and stones are not able to do what we do anymore. So that's one myth and one legend. And there are many like this. And these myths and legends are always told in a respectful manner. And also in those myths and legends are answers on how to deal with problems. And that's why they're so important. And that's why you cannot, like we said, shamans today or shamans here that pretend to be shamans, they don't know this kind of stuff. They don't learn it. And it's such a big part of being of working with these medicines.
And anything new what you experienced there that was for you something that you don't expect it, or anything? How is their food?
Yeah.
There? And
yeah, well,
I think it's quite different. Like we live in today's world.
Definitely, it's super different. And the food, for example, like we are used to eating 3-4 times a day, and my mother told me, bring enough food with you, but due to circumstances he went back after 2 weeks, and I stayed for 2 weeks longer the first time I was there, but I didn't have enough food with me for 2 weeks, so I had to survive by eating 2 meals a day. I lost about 6 kilograms, but for them it's normal.
Yeah.
Because they eat when they can and when there is food available. There's no supermarkets there. And sometimes a plane comes by every couple of weeks to import some stuff. But if there's no food, well, tough luck for you, man. So sometimes,
you must survive.
Yeah, you must survive. Or they work in their garden, which is like it's called a chakra, and it's like a big garden that they plant their vegetables in. It's actually part of the forest. It's like 2 hectares big, something like that. But it's also a tough life, and that's also a misconception that people here have. This like the tribes there drinking ayahuasca all day, living in the jungle, living a perfect life. That's not true. It's a struggle for them. You have to survive every day by either hunting or getting the vegetables.
Yeah, but in this way also, you build up yourself, you know.
True, yeah.
You get a real man.
Exactly.
I mean about men, you know.
Yes.
In today's world, they are everybody crying about depression, anxiety, you know.
Yeah.
And it's only an illusion in their head, you know, because they get a little bit. I can use this word now, you know, feminized, you know, always complaining like this, and don't fight. But there
you know,
there's no other solution. Or you fight for your life,
exactly,
or you die.
Yeah. That's
so
exactly.
There is no
true.
time for depression.
Yeah.
So it has kind of benefits, you know, and also some sad things on it, you know.
Well, what you say is very true, because we don't have a bad life here. People complain here, but they have no reason to complain. They literally don't. And I don't like, problems are different for everyone, you know. So if you think here you have a problem because you're making 50 euros less a month, that's a real problem for you if you think that way. But in reality, for your survival, it's not a problem. No,
absolutely.
People have options here.
So let me remember you this. So the ayahuasca, what was that aware you and make you to make the decision to go back in the jungle.
Definitely.
You experience that life, but actually your life is a fighter. It
true.
was also from before, from your childhood.
I started when I was 9 years old with
and now you're a professional fighter.
MMA fighter.
Yeah. And how contribute this to your life? And after your ayahuasca experience, because in a fight you must use your ego, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
And how you dominate these two parts, or how you handle it.
Yeah, that's true. So I fought for the last time in 2014. It was after my first ayahuasca session, but those sessions teach me that I had at that time a lot of trauma from childhood that I had to deal with, because you cannot fight with emotions.
No.
Because they will come to light in your fights if you don't deal with them, you know. So I spent up until 2019 trying to deal with my past to eventually get back into the cage or
you need 4
again.
years to heal yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So now I'm finally at a point where I can do this again. So I was supposed to fight in October. I was ready, but I got COVID a week before the fight. So now my plan is to fight in May or June, and after that we'll see what happens from that. But you know, I'm just gonna be ready and enjoy this time, because now I know it's not. The life goes on, and whatever happens in that fight, win or lose, it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about winning or losing. It's about learning how to become a better person. Facing your fears, because it's scary to fight, you know, and it's about that. I don't care about the outcome anymore. I really don't, and that's the most liberating feeling.
You get freedom on this.
Yes. Finally free now.
Yourself.
Yeah.
And this
past.
is the most of the things what people didn't see it. You know, they're always looking for material things, and they get in a trap.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
Always in a trap, and then to get out from that, you must wake up. But you wake up only during your lessons in your life. Yeah. If you read them.
Yeah.
I can say on this.
Yeah.
If you read them, you know.
Yeah.
If not, you wake up each and every year or month or day in a similar situation.
That's definitely true.
So to get freedom, you have to open your heart and close your ego.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I totally agree.
This is a quite interesting story, you know, to go back in the jungle. I always dream to go there, and I plan each and every year. Hopefully this year I will go. I want to go to Peru. But and from there you come back sad or happy from the jungle?
Happy,
absolutely, because you see your parents.
Yeah, I see all my family, and also I got to learn who I am, because that was
from where you come and who are you truly.
Yeah. That's what it was about. Looking back at it, you know, who am I, and what am I supposed to do here in this world? But you cannot, if you know where you come from, you don't have the question of where do you come from, because you know. But if you don't, you have this question, and you cannot. It's very
and you
hard
live
to
with
move.
this question.
You live with this question every day.
Dominate you.
Yeah.
What else I want to ask you? Did you meet persons there that they use like a medicinal plant, also mushrooms?
Mushroom. Funny story. You know Terence McKenna?
No.
Terence McKenna is the one of the big pioneers of the magic mushroom from the United States during the flower power era in the 1960s, 1970s. He was one of the main promoters of the magic mushroom, and he discovered it in the village that my family is from, in La Chorrera. At that time there were cows there, and cows they shit, and the mushroom grows from the shit. So he discovered it there. He was actually looking for another plant medicine, but he discovered it there. Right now there are no more cows and no more mushrooms there, but I actually learned about the mushroom when I was in Holland.
So you didn't use there?
No, right there. Over there they use more the yahe, the ayahuasca, or other psychedelic plant medicines. That's
mapacho also.
Yeah.
Mapacho
No, mapacho is actually from Peru.
From Peru.
Over there they use something called jiraque, and it's a plant medicine made from tobacco, but it's in a paste form. They don't use it here in the West.
Most of all of these medicines, they have in common that they connect you
exactly
with your soul.
Yes.
And then you,
especially the mapacho is
it's also very powerful. I hear. I never tried, but I hear it.
Yeah, it's a purifying medicine. Yeah. It's but all tribes have their own recipes and own ways of using medicine, and it's different for every tribe, and they have different kinds of preparing it. Some use because ayahuasca is from the vine and a plant which is a DMT holding plant.
Yeah, DMT leaf and I don't know how they call this.
Well, you have two.
It's from a tree.
Virola.
Yeah, exactly.
So we total use they use virola, which is not common with ayahuasca at all. Known to the outside world, but that's interesting. And for them, it's also not per se about growing spiritually. It's about, especially for the Witoto, they only use the ayahuasca or the yahe as a last resort medicine, because it's very powerful. Like normally a ceremony lasts for 6 hours. The way that Witoto prepare it, it's for 12 hours. And it's a last resort medicine. So if you're close to dying, then they pull out this medicine to get you better. And you use it one-on-one, like you go to a doctor. If you go to the doctor now, you don't go with 20 people to the doctor to get the same medicine. You go there and use it with the head shaman only. Yeah.
I understand. Okay, so it's nice to hear your story.
Thanks, man.
Bro, it's very interesting how the ayahuasca can change people's life.
Definitely.
Because it's about this. I want to talk today. It's a calling, and it's not must do this. Only when you struggle, it's a help for your soul. You know.
Yeah.
If you fall down, because each and every time we can try more and more and more, but when the force of the universe comes against you, they pull you down. Exactly. And then this can be one of your solution of your answers.
Yeah, and then the mushroom is the same actually.
Mushroom is the same, yeah.
Because the mushroom is it's not so different when you look at it.
The mushroom, it's I must mention that you cannot. It's also very difficult if you don't have the knowledge about it.
Yeah.
It can hurt you.
Exactly, yeah.
So with ayahuasca, it can help you, the shaman. But the mushroom, if you use it in a bad environment and you have mental problem, then you can damage yourself.
Definitely, like it's true, and it's
I hear many stories.
Yeah, but it's true. And originally, the mushroom is from Mexico, and it was also used in a ceremonial setting with a shaman that helped you guide it. But because it's now sold recreationally, people abuse it, and it's not
experience it.
Yeah, they experience it. Yeah,
And a few of them they get good trips, few of them bad trips.
exactly. Yeah, but you should be very careful with these medicines. That's
How you use it and why you use it. It's not a party drug.
yeah, exactly. And if you use it the correct way, it can be very healing for you, like ayahuasca can. I've had similar trips with the mushroom, and it's the same. It's not the same, but it's also not very different. Also, if you look at it from a chemical point of view, because the DMT molecule and the psilocybin,
it closes your ego.
Yeah,
And then directly you think different, directly you feel different.
Yeah.
And it levels up your feelings.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, it brings you to a new kinds of realization about yourself. Yeah. And that's what I like about these psychedelic drugs. Yeah.
Change your perception.
Change your perception. You learn about yourself.
Yeah. Be more aware of consciousness.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, and you learn
that's
stuff.
why many people change after you use all this.
Exactly.
things.
Like for many people, I saw a survey once that said for, I don't know, above 70%, for people, it was the most spiritual experience that they ever had in their life. And that's beautiful.
Well, it's life changing, yeah, absolutely. If you know how to use it and you have a very well reason to use it,
exactly.
It can change you.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and we're only just starting to begin scratching the surface of these psychedelic medicines. Actually, yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, but you have a lot of information out there. You know, if you really want to know about something, you can find it already. It's not like before.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
So
right now, knowledge is very well shared. So it's not like before you had to go to the jungle and didn't know where you end up.
But even now, I saw and I was looking for it, and I saw many people they booked with tourism agencies trips to the jungle for the ceremony, ayahuasca ceremony.
Yeah.
And they get back healed from there.
Yeah, but
life changing.
Yeah. There are some centers that do really good work. Like the tourist centers. They're
but
not
now
all
it's
bad.
also we have to be careful. There is a business.
There's a business, and this is
there's a business. Yeah.
This makes it a double-edged sword.
You can find the real shaman.
It's true. There are some centers that do really good work in Peru. Yeah, some centers with a good reputation, with good people working there. You don't have to do it like me, go into the jungle somewhere off.
For you was your calling.
Yeah, exactly. For me, it was different. But Peru they have some very good tribes that still practice it like they used to do back before colonization, like the Shipibo. Exactly, they are the masters of the traditional ayahuasca in Peru. They're very well known. They're very knowledgeable. In Colombia, you have the Cofan, you have the Inganos. You have different tribes that are that have a good reputation for administering this medicine.
There, the culture is still alive.
Yeah, it's still alive. In Brazil also. There are many people, good people still doing this, but also many people that just do it for money. Just search well and go with your gut feeling, but always look up the reputation of the person that you are going to drink with. That's the most important part. Yeah. Do your research well. Don't just drink with anyone, because it can go bad if you don't.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Santiago, thank you for coming and sharing this nice story.
Thank you for inviting me here, man. Really appreciate it.
And see you in the near future.
See you in the future.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.